Hello and welcome to ILTV's Insider. I'm your host, ILTV Editor-in-Chief, Maayan Hoffman. Today, we're focusing on the escalating situation on Israel's northern border. As tensions rise with Hezbollah and Lebanon, many are wondering how this war is evolving and what it means for the broader region. We'll dive into the latest developments from the tactical maneuvers being used by Israeli forces to the potential for the conflict to ignite a larger regional war, including with Iran. We'll also discuss the long-term implications for residents who have been displaced, the strain on our military, and whether a ceasefire could be in sight. Joining us are experts who will help break down the situation and its potential outcomes. They are on Zoom due to the security situation. Professor Eyal Zisser, Vice Rector at Tel Aviv University, welcome. And Professor Amatzia Baram, Professor Emeritus at Haifa University. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Let's go ahead and get started. So I want, first of all, just to give us the latest on the war as you see it. You know, what's going on in Lebanon and on the northern border? Eyal, if you could start with that.
Yes, well, what we can see is a further escalation. I do remind everyone that the war started in October 2023 by Hezbollah. Hezbollah was the one that launched a major attack against Israel, hoping that he would be able to keep the level of fire and avoid major escalation, a total war. But the idea was to continue with this war of attrition. I guess that at some point, a week, 2 weeks ago, Israel came to the conclusion that enough is enough. And as a result, escalated. We still are not in a major and a total war. I don't see constant attacks, for example, on Adachia. And remember the question Nasrallah made some years ago, Adachia, this is to say the capital of Hezbollah,
right.
Is Tel Aviv. So we are not there in the sense that we are hitting Adachia from time to time, actually some minutes ago, but it's not a major attack on this stronghold. We are targeting mainly stores of where Hezbollah and houses where Hezbollah put its missiles, hoping that through this pressure, maybe Nasrallah will convince to bring the war to an end.
Yes, but I mean, the reality is that, yeah, because the reality is that we've already hit 1,500 targets in just 36 hours, and I understand there was yet another assassination today. I mean, I think I have to also ask the question, why now? We could have done this for the last 11 or 12 months if we're just going to be taking out weapon stores. So, you know, maybe Eyal or Amatzia, maybe Amatzia, you start and explain to me, why did we decide that yesterday was the day?
Not yesterday, September 17th.
Ah, correct. Right. This is okay. Go ahead.
That's when Israel decided to explode those beepers, beepers, which was a huge success. And then the next day, some walkie-talkies, which also was a great success. And then what we have seen last 2-3 days. The decision, I don't know why it was made. Possibly, it's a possibility, maybe, that's what we are being told, leaked to, is that the Iranians were receiving a shipment of those beepers to check if something is wrong with them, because there was suspicion in Hezbollah that they were, something could be happening with them. And so our militaries recommended to the Prime Minister to explode them, or a work of years will be lost, a costly work of many years. That's possible. I'm not saying that this is definitely a reasonable reason, but there is also another reason, which I think a wider reason. And I believe that at a certain point, our politicians, our government, reached the conclusion that criticism from the people of Israel, mainly people of the Galilee, but who are not at home, or those who are at home and are under constant bombardment by Hezbollah. Criticism coming from almost everywhere is becoming too much, and that Israel, the government, Israel, has to show that they are doing something for the Galilee. So maybe both reasons were combined.
So
I think that's.
Let me just ask you then about the tactics, because the tactics that we're using are tactics that we've long used, going in with our IAF and taking out weapon stores, targeted attacks. So Eyal, talk a little bit more about that and whether or not you feel that these tactics are the best tactics at this time and what other tactics might potentially be on the table.
Well, first of all, I would like also to mention that the war in the south came, for all practical matters, to some sort of an end. I mean, Hamas was defeated. There are still individual cells that carry out terrorist attacks against our houses, but Hamas is an army with headquarters and brigades, combat brigades. Hamas as a government, ministries, doesn't exist anymore. So I guess that this also should be to the bigger picture. Now, what we see right now are strikes against Hezbollah. This is, any missile that is being destroyed by Hezbollah, any high-ranking commander of Hezbollah that is being assassinated, that's clearly a positive step. But the question is, where does it lead us? And I don't think that it will be enough to convince Nasrallah to cease the launching of rockets, to stop launching rockets at Israel. This will not help us to bring back the residents of northern Israel to their homes. So it's a step in the right direction, but only if you have a practical and realistic goal and a vision as for how to bring this war to an end. So it's okay, but we did it before many times, and indeed, this was very embarrassing, very difficult for Hezbollah the last several weeks, the last several days. But it will not change, I'm afraid, the bigger picture.
Well, and I think that's really the question, and I want to jump back over to you, Amatzia, if that's okay to ask you about that. First of all, something that Eyal said. You said that you believe that we've defeated Hamas, that we are done in Gaza. So we still have soldiers in Gaza. We've certainly seen that we've had to go in and out of Rafah more than once, as the Hamas is replenishing itself. Do you agree with Eyal that we have completed our work in Gaza? That's number one. And number two, I think I would ask both of you, if the reality is that this escalation, which is actually causing already, some international condemnation, is not going to allow us to bring the residents of the North back home, then what is really the value of it? So, Amatzia, start with my Gaza question, if that's okay.
Well, we have reached that level already 4 or 5 months ago. So the decision to escalate in Lebanon has something to do with something else. In addition to that, also we haven't, Eyal, I think meant the same, we haven't finished our job in Gaza. I mean, Hamas is down but not out. So it's a sort of, we are plodding through in Gaza, and my solution would be simple. I mean, it's easy for me to say, I am a professor. I'm not a politician or a military commander. But my solution would be quite simple: to expedite an exchange of our abductees for Hamas murderers. We have many murderers in our prisons. Once this happens, and to do it now, if we can reach Hamas leadership at all, but maybe we can. But a part of it would be a ceasefire. Now, Nasrallah said, and actually practiced it once, that the moment there is a ceasefire in Gaza, he will ceasefire in the north, in which case you have ceasefire both in Gaza and the north. Right. And now the question is, what next? Of course, Israel will say this: nobody can go back to the Galilee, to their homes, before Hezbollah withdraws to the Litani River, according to United Nations Security Council Resolution 1701 from 2006, according to which Nasrallah has to withdraw his men beyond the Litani and also disarm, but nobody's talking about that today. Anyway, withdraw his men. So here, at that moment, when there is a ceasefire in Gaza, hopefully we shall see our abductees, which is, to my mind, the main moral obligation of our government. So we both get them back, and there is a ceasefire in Gaza. Both sides have to keep it,
Right, but then I guess...
we will.
But what happens here, Amatzia? I mean, I want to keep going on this because, as you said, it would be a ceasefire, but we know that Hezbollah will not move back beyond the Litani. We know that any kind of ceasefire that we would sign today would would be temporary in some capacity if, as you said, we have not actually defeated Hamas and we have not actually defeated Hezbollah. So how, of course, to bring the hostages home, that's number one, but how does that bring us security?
There is definitely a way to do it. And it's already being discussed seriously, not just I'm, imagining things. The moment there is ceasefire on both fronts, which is the beginning of the process, America and Israel must threaten Hezbollah with total war, then really total war. And I mean total war that can cripple the whole of Lebanon. Hezbollah, as far as I know, I can quote one source, but I have other sources. One source is the Lebanese foreign minister. Hezbollah agreed to withdraw at least 10 kilometers, maybe to the Litani, if the threat of war, of total war, is hanging over their heads like a Damocles sword. I believe this is correct information. Hezbollah will withdraw. I don't know if 10 kilometers or all the way to the Litani, which is about 25 kilometers, but will withdraw its fighters and its positions. And you have, under the threat of war, with America supporting Israel. When you reach that point, you have to remember, Israel will be happy to do that. They will do it unhappily. Iran will approve. Now, the question is, what do you do then? Because in 2006, they agreed, they did, and then they filtered back into the border. How do you prevent it? There is only one way to prevent it, not an occupation of more land in southern Lebanon, of any land in southern Lebanon. By fire and by patrols.
Meaning by a preemptive strike? Is that what you're recommending? Some kind of preemptive strike?
Strike any Hezbollah soldier that returns to the area. And I mean, you know that James Bond received from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. That's why he was given the 007, the 00 thing. He received from Her Majesty license to kill. Every brigade commander on the Israeli border should have this license. If one Hezbollah fighter.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying, goes across the border. So now, Eyal, I just want to jump back to you because I think that it's important to kind of jump on this. So we sign a ceasefire, that's one option. The other option is that this escalation continues at least for a few more days and maybe even longer. We saw 11 months in Gaza. So my question for you is this. We even gave it a name, right? Northern Arrows Operation. What if this operation leads to an all-out regional war that will include Iran? The Iranian president just yesterday suggested that already the acts that we have done, whether it was the beeper walkie-talkie attacks or it was even the assassination of Yahya Sinwar, of Ismail Haniyeh in Iran, or whether it is the rockets that we're seeing today, that this is enough, that they feel that they're being dragged into a war and they're threatening an escalation. Eyal, is that going to happen? Do you see that could happen? And if so, how long will it take to get started?
Theoretically, everything can happen, but I doubt it very much whether Iran will join the war. Iran is far away. It can send weapons to Hezbollah, but clearly not forces. And any forces and the American to deter Iran. So I guess the Iranian will let Hezbollah continue fighting. In the last rounds of violence, it did well, or at least it survived. So, you know, if Israel decides to occupy entire Lebanon, well, we need to see what might happen. And even then, what Iran can practically do is very little. So I don't think that we are approaching a regional war. I mean, we are constantly being constantly attacked by the Houthis, by Iraqi militias. What they can do, they already did. They can't do something seriously more significant than they did before. So it's mainly Israel and Hezbollah. And since we don't see any ceasefire in Gaza, and well, the war, when I say war, I mean with entire Israeli division inside Gaza. This is not the situation right now. The challenge is there, but it's not the war we had in Gaza when the war started, when Israel had to invade Gaza with entire army and to fight Hamas brigades. Now it's like in the West Bank, you send a battalion, you send 2 battalions to deal with some terrorists. So it's a different challenge. That's what allows Israel to focus on the northern border. Well, as for the Israeli operation, I don't see him leading anywhere if it will stay operation of mainly
the air attacks.
Air Force strike. I don't see it leading anywhere. Will continue striking Hezbollah targets. They will continue launching rockets against Israel. So it will be the continuation of the war of attrition we were used to, unless Israel decide to invade Lebanon, and this is a different story. And even then, is the idea to create a security zone that will not bring an end to the launching of rockets from much northern areas. Right. So Israel still need to decide what it is her vision.
Well, I hope that we have some vision, Eyal, before we get to the ends of this war. I do have to ask you, because with these IAF strikes, it's very similar to what we did in Gaza before we went in and even after we went in, and it's really flattens major areas, kills a lot of people. They said in just one day we killed 500 Lebanese. Now, of course, we're in a war and people die, and the IDF is an extremely moral army. But I do need to ask, given the death toll in Gaza, now the death toll that's continuing to rise in Lebanon, is there going to be a point where we've sort of killed too many people and we're going to start to feel the same backlash that we felt internationally from the work that we did in Gaza?
We are not going to do, unless there is total war in Lebanon, and I don't see this happening so easily. Maybe it will, but we are not there yet. Unless there is total war in Lebanon, between us and Lebanon or Hezbollah, then we will not see a Gaza situation. What I think we are on the brink of it, but we are not there. What I think our leadership thinks, it's obvious. They hope that by escalating, but remaining below the threshold of total war, they will convince Nasrallah to stop, to declare ceasefire. This will not happen. The chances of this are very low.
So then can we win? So Amatzia, can we win? I mean, why do this then? Can we win the war against Hezbollah? And we really only have 2 minutes left, so I'd like each of you to take this. Amatzia, tell me the answer to that question. And Eyal, I'd love to hear your opinion on that as well.
Well, as I see it, I mean, we had the experience of the American fighting. I'm not speaking about the Russian in Syria or in Chechnya. I mean, the Russians do not care. I mean, this is the old strategy to hit civilians in order to combat terrorists or their adversaries. But in the case of the Americans, what happened in Iraq, in other places...
Right, but Eyal, we're running out of time, and I want to know, are we going to win the war? Are we going to beat Hezbollah?
I don't think so. I think that the only hope is that there will be, the only hope to stop this is a ceasefire in Gaza, not withdrawal, ceasefire, exchange and so on, and then ceasefire in Lebanon, and then an arrangement which will be guaranteed by whoever, but mainly by our soldiers who can shoot and kill anybody who breaches
the fence, 100%. And Eyal, go ahead.
Maybe one sentence up.
Okay, we were actually out of time, Amatzia. I'm so sorry. So I want to make sure that Eyal gets in one last word. If Eyal, if you can just tell me in really one sentence, are we going to win the war or not?
If the government decide, like in the case of Gaza, to launch a major attack and occupy Lebanon, well, Hezbollah will continue to exist, but not as an army. But I wonder if the Americans will let us do it, if the government is ready to do it. I mean, if there will be constant missiles hitting Tel Aviv on a daily basis, maybe we will be forced to do it. But it's
likely we're just going to let it go.
It's not the right thing to do. Yeah.
So what I'm understanding from both of you is we're getting to the point of we're hoping for a ceasefire. This doesn't have a pretty end in sight. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have this evening. And I really want to thank you both for being here and sharing your insights with our viewers. For more of the latest updates from Israel, make sure to subscribe to our newsletter at ILTV.tv. Thanks for watching Insider. Let's win this war and bring our hostages home.